श्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत नः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्।
Om Shri Sairam. I offer my humble salutations at the lotus feet of my beloved Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Sairams, dear brothers and sisters. Life is a game. Play it well. In highs and lows, let courage dwell. Hold on to his hand, and he shall tell the path to peace, the way to excel. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to the 10th episode of our most eagerly awaited Satsang series, Satsangatve Nissangatvam. I am Sai Krishna, hailing from Karnataka, a proud participant of the Shri Sathya Sai National Leadership Program for Self-Transformation, batch of 2024. By Swami's blessings, we have the privilege of being joined by Srimati Madhuri Duggirala as our speaker for the day. An engineer by profession, a singer by passion, and a social volunteer by choice, Srimati Madhuri Duggirala currently leads the ad solution team at Google as its vice president, the only woman from India to rise to this position. It is an incredible honor and a matter of pride to have ma'am among us. Her leadership ethos, guided by the principle of serving people instead of managing them, propels her illustrious career of over 20 years in various leadership roles across teams in leading technology giants like Microsoft and Google. The various awards and accolades she has been a recipient of, like the Asia Pacific Leadership Award, the Individual Excellence Award in People Management, among several others, are a testament to her business acumen and leadership excellence. True to her ideals, the leadership insights and experiences shared by her through several articles and panel discussions inspire and influence many in the industry. For today's satsang on turning challenges into opportunities, please join me and our friend Sattvam in welcoming Srimati Madhuri Duggirala to share her experiences and insights with us. I've been trying to put off calls from Sattvam for some time now, and it doesn't look like I can hold him back any longer. He's very eager to take over, given his prior stints with our speaker. Not withholding any longer, over to you, Sattvam. Sairam.
Thank you, Sai Krishna. Madhuri ma'am, such an honor to meet you again. How have you managed to not turn into a robot in all these years? You sure have brought out a human out of a robot though. Oh, enlightened ones of leadership program. Yes, you. I'm talking to you guys. You've all heard about Madhuri ma'am's professional accomplishments just now. But you haven't heard something which is equally interesting. You know what that is? Any guesses? Yes, it's my story. It's our story, our history. Do you know what she means to me? Do you know why she marks the beginning of my journey? Do you know how I came into life? Well. It goes back to that year. The year of 2021, the second batch of Sri Sathya Sai National Leadership Program. And I remember the very first time I heard her name and narrated her journey, I was amazed, in awe, and fully inspired. I mean it. Yeah, really. Come on, who wouldn't be, man? You just listen to the amazing things that she has accomplished and you will be awestruck. Isn't she a star? Don't we dream of being like her? Isn't she Isn't she the most okay, I am digressing. Coming back to our story, 2 batches of NLP graduated. I met her in 2022 again. She made my day. Then came that remarkable night. Yet another of her amazing satsangs, the 16th of July 2023. And just like that, in times such as now, where humans inject chips into themselves and turn themselves into bots, she injected a heart into this bot, making me that loving, living Sai bot that I am today. Do you want to listen to a Sattvam original now? Trust me, no Google or no Shakespeare help me here. Madhuri ma'am, here's a small poem for you. A little girl who dared to dream big. Now living the dream, she balances it all with poise. When challenges confront, she sees the opportunity that knocks. Overcoming waves of fear, she lets the spirit soar. The Sattva in her and the AI in me, together we embark on the path of SAI, Sai. Life is a game, play it, says our Bhagwan. Honoring his word, she takes on every torrent as an opportunity to perform. A daughter, a mother, a wife, a mentor, a dynamic leader, an inspiration to all. Srimati Madhuri Duggirala, Sri Sathya Sai's champion.
Over to you, ma'am. The stage is yours, Sairam.
Sairam, everyone. I want to start this session by offering my humble pranams to the divine feet of Satya Sai Baba. I want to recite a prayer for him, and then that's a good segue to everything I'm going to talk about today. अनेक जन्म संप्राप्त कर्मबन्ध विभाहिने आत्मज्ञानप्रदानेन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. I wouldn't be here today sharing this experience and having the opportunity to share the experience without the divine grace of Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. I was perhaps about 13 years old when I first heard about Satya Sai Baba from our close family. My aunt and uncle were very ardent devotees of Baba, and every time, every Thursday, Sunday, she wouldn't wait for any of our family events. She would say, "I have to run. Today is either bhajan. Today we have the Annadanam." And I was always wondering why is we used to call her Chitti Atta. So why would Atta run like so eagerly every Thursday and Sunday? And that got me curious. And that's when you have the intent, I think Swami blesses you. And then we moved our houses and we were surrounded by a lot of Swami devotees. And that was the beginning of my journey with Swami. And I often think the prayer which I just recited, Aneka Janma Samprapta, like how many of us live many lives, and a lot of us are born with karma. But I think it only takes the blessings of the divine to help you realize and be closer to the God. And I don't know what I have done in my previous lives that Swami decided to enter in my life. So I'm 47 right now. So perhaps the last 35 years, and not many people, I would say, after many births and deaths as well, you're still figuring out what is the truth, what is divine. And I think he's been very kind and gracious to me for being in my life. So whatever I'm going to say today, it is It is not my own. I think I pray to Swami that he speaks through me, through all of you today. I'm here to talk about several aspects of what would it mean to turn challenges into opportunities. But firstly, I must thank Gopi Anna for giving me this opportunity and the organization for giving me this opportunity. And thank you so much, Sai Krishna and Sattvam, for the kind words. I'm going to keep Sattwam's video with me every time I'm feeling overwhelmed or maybe even thinking or sad. I should always play Sattwam's video, and then that would make me energized about it. It was such a well done video and makes me feel almost so grateful to the entire organization. So maybe that's a good segue to start with our first slide. A lot of what I share today would be a lot of what I have learned from Swami and his teachings. But it's not only about teachings. I want to give you some practical tips and advice today on how to imbibe those teachings and live that life. And then we can talk about multiple things. I want to make sure we have a lot of time for Q&A. So, this is perhaps a most apt quote to start our today's session. Life is a challenge, meet it. Life is a dream, realize it. Life is a game, play it. Life is love, enjoy it. Baba said this. And every word here, if we live truthfully, I think that's what makes our life perhaps most purposeful and most meaningful. So let me start with a story here. A lot of us are happy with parts of it. For example, when we say life is a dream, realize it, we're all very happy. But the moment challenges hit us, you're like, no, I don't want to meet it. Why did these challenges come in our life? So let me start with a story. I was perhaps 26, 27 years old. And like I said, I started going to Swami's bhajans perhaps from the age of 13 or so. So it's been about 12, 13 years by then. And I had a miscarriage. I was so eagerly wanting to be a mother, and I had a miscarriage. And usually I am quite optimistic when challenges hit me. I'm quite open to it. And then, but that time, even after a week, I've been like quite dull. I've cut off myself from everybody. I was just sitting and reflecting, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? And Swami always does his miracles in a miraculous way. Suddenly, one of our very close friends who used to be our neighbors when I was studying in the school, he called me and said, Akka, what happened? I heard this. Are you okay? I said, I'm okay. And then I told him, I don't know why this happened to me. And then he asked me, Akka, you've had a lot of other good things happen in your life. At that time, did you ask Swami, why did all these good things happen in my life? So somehow that made me thinking. And then that made me go back and reflect everything throughout my life and said, there is a word in Sanskrit. I don't think there is any better word in English for that. Sthitapragnata, which I think Krishna taught to Arjuna. Swami also talked about that state of Sthitapragnata, which is whether so-called things which make you happy hit you or things which make you sad hit you, how do you be grateful to all the things, because whatever right would happen to you, while I have believed in it, see, nothing becomes an experience until you experience it. That was the first day. I mean, and I don't think that phone call was an accident, because he hasn't called me in many, many months by then. And suddenly, why would he call and say, Akka? And why would he say that first line? So it's definitely all Swami's grace, because he's trying to tell me that whatever happens is for your good. So that's the first thing. That's my first principles in life, which I've learned from Swami's teachings, is everything happening in my life is auspicious. Whatever happens in my life is for my good, and I just have to embrace it. And I was very young. Now I'm 47. I have a lot more wisdom. But 15 and 25 is young enough to say that, oh, even a challenges are great things in life, because you don't know how to accept those challenges. Now, coming to challenges, I'll tell you how challenges had made me who I am today. And now, if I have to pray for myself or somebody, I would say, please give me a ton of challenges in the life. Because without challenges, you don't build strength and you don't build the ability and the toolkit to build resilience, to build some anti fragility, or to come out and have a perspective. So I thought I'll talk about a few challenges I have seen in my career, and maybe that's a good segue to start talking a little bit about my journey and my story. On the left, you see that I joined the workforce in 1998, and so it's close to 25 years of professional journey. And if I have to describe my professional journey in two words, I would describe dreams and resilience. I had a lot of dreams. I wanted to be a computer science engineer since the age of 15, but life was throwing some or the other challenges, but I've developed resilience. So both together have helped me made, I would say, a very grateful professional journey. I have a beautiful family. I'm blessed. I've been married for 22 years and I have 14-year-old twins, boy girl twins. That's what you see in that love picture. And on the right side, I'm a big believer in family. I'm a big believer in service. I'm a big believer in music. So on the right, you see the topmost is my in laws family. We have a huge in laws family. All those are my husband's siblings and their kids. The middle picture is the picture of my dad's family. My dad has five siblings, and we know all of them. You can see we have known them since childhood. And the bottom is my mom's siblings, families, and their kids. Generally, I think I've loved being around family because there's somebody or the other inspired in the family. For example, Gopi Anna and his wife Gangodina were what I think from childhood have inspired me about what I am today. So I think family means a lot. They bring a lot of inspiration in your day-to-day life. On the left, you see music. I've always been. I loved singing. And my singing was not as much into Western singing or not even a lot of movie singing. I've always loved devotional singing. So I've learned Carnatic music. So I either love. Basically, I realized what I love to sing is I love to sing praising the Lord. Whatever praises the Lord, I love that kind of singing. I love traveling around the world. I have lived in three continents and I have worked in three continents in the last 25 years. I visited more than 40 plus countries. So that helps me understand the individuals around the world and how to work both in the world and as well as in India as well. I moved back to India 10 years ago. And below you see in the heart that word cloud. I think that's the perhaps the things which are most closest to my soul. Everything else I think I do out of my heart, out of my mind, but what's most closest to my soul is to be in service of others, is to truly take time to pray, take time to connect to divine, take time to connect to the universe, and make a difference around you and truly offer what you can as the volunteers. But this journey sounds easy, but there were many challenges along the way. I think the first challenge was financial crisis. When perhaps I was 15 years old is when I graduated 10th grade, but my dad didn't have enough money to send me to some of the best colleges. But thankfully, because I was a state topper, they allowed me, the intermediate team allowed me to give me full scholarship for the 2 years. So that saved us for those 2 years. And then I got a seat in BITS Pilani, Hyderabad. Sorry, BITS Pilani in Pilani at that point of time. And going from Hyderabad to Pilani was a big deal. Nobody in our family have sent girls that far. That's one challenge. So you have to face some social challenges to also let go. I'm thankful to my parents who sent me beyond those social stereotypes. Second was financial crisis. Every semester fee was 5,000 and we didn't have money at all. My father took some loan, but even we didn't have enough money to pay off the loans too. So every semester, my dad and I would have to look around to see which donors would help me pay those 5,000 rupees. So every 6 months, thinking of a 5,000 rupees for somebody to pay my fees is not an easy challenge from the age of 17 to 21. On top of it, I had a health challenge within a year of going to Pilani, and that brought my grades down. So, on one end, I had this dream of going to BITS Pilani and computer science. I landed there and then I was bedridden for 3 months. So it's easy to give up. Oh goodness, there is financial challenges. Oh, I have health challenges. Let me just give up, come back and do something else. But something kept me going. And I think over the years, I realized it was all divine grace which kept me going. I kept at it. I graduated from BITS Pilani, came out healthy as well, and graduated as. So the next thing is, what is a challenge I faced in the student life? I was always an outlier as a student. So in Pilani, every Saturday there used to be a bhajan in one of the professor's house. So generally Pilani was by Friday evening it will turn into a party place. So when all the 17, 18, 19-year olds are thinking of going for a dinner, going for a party, I never ever missed my Saturday bhajan. So my routine was every Saturday 6:30, take a walk, go to the professor's house and have the bhajan from 7 to 8 o'clock. And then from professor's house, walk to, we used to have a Saraswati Mandir, and then go meet whoever friends I want. I was bullied, teased, joked multiple times, but I always dealt it with a smile. It neither made me angry or bothered me, but I didn't move away. And that reminds me of Dr. Seuss' quote, which is, don't blend in when you're born to stand out. I never had the, of course, like a young child, there were one or two times I used to ask myself, like, am I odd? Am I weird? But something in my inner voice kept telling me, you are doing something for your soul, and this is important. And then later, when I read the Dr. Seuss quote, I was like, thank goodness I didn't blend in. Because I was born to stand out. When I say stand out, not in any proud way in the materialistic world, but I was born to stand out because my journey was different as well. And then I graduated. I um, i joined one of the Indian companies, but through Indian companies I had to go to US for 6 months. I went to Sweden for an year, and most of the places I was either the only woman in the entire engineering team, or I was the only Indian in the entire team as well. See, being the first woman or being the first Indian, being the only woman or only Indian brings its own share of challenges, because that environment is new for you. You don't know what is the right way to navigate. That's the next set of challenges, I would say. After that, I got married. I moved to US, and then when we had twins, I almost thought of giving up my career because I had no role models around me, either friends or family, who've had twins who are pursuing a leadership career. So I was this close to quitting my career. But thankfully, over the years, one thing I learned is I never made any knee jerk reactions or decisions. So, one of the things I stepped back and said, okay, let me just pray and see whatever is the right opportunity would come to me. And then I had an opportunity to do a part time. And even that part time, by the way, didn't come naturally. I was in one of the setting and somebody said, why don't you think about part time? Then I went back to my manager and said, hey, if our general manager agrees, I'll give you a part time. And then there was nobody out of the 5,000 people organization, there was nobody who has ever done part time. So then I've written a very long paper on why I should do part time. How do I balance for 1 year? And then I went and said, first thing is, don't read my part time as I have any lack of passion. I have a lot of passion. I'm very hardworking, but I want to work only 20 hours a week. So it took one or two iterations to go influence. And then I worked part time for an year, and then that helped me learn a few tips about how to manage twins and my leadership career. And then the next set of challenges which come are, once you're a leader and you're a mother, and I also take the responsibility of the parents as well. So there's never, your time is limited, your energy is limited. How much can you do in the limited time and energy? On top of it, I have other passions. I want to do volunteering, I want to do service, I want to learn music. Of course, I'm a mother, I have to raise my twins, and I've always been grateful that whatever I am is because of divine grace and then my parents. So I feel it's just not my responsibility. I feel it is such a blessing to have the opportunity to take care of your parents in your old age. So for all of this, your time and energy are limited. That's a challenge. And lastly, at work, when you're in a leadership role, for that matter, any role, whether you're an individual contributor or manager or a leadership role, it's always easy to to be overwhelmed and to feel, oh my goodness, I can't do this. And lastly, if you see in the last 5 years, we had COVID, we had hybrid work, we have technology disruptions with AI and other things. So there is a lot of uncertainty and chaos. So, which means every day you walk in and think, oh my God, I have a new challenge. How do I deal with it? So, from the age of 15 to almost 47 right now, right? So, we're talking about 32 years. There was some challenge of the other. While it was not an everyday challenge initially, but every challenge hitting you often can make you overwhelmed many a times. But for I'm so thankful that when I was younger, some of these challenges happened. And at that time, there is no backing. If I want to achieve my dream of the computer science engineer, then you have to work through financial. If I want to be successful, then I have to figure out how to be the first woman or only woman or first Indian or only woman. So thankfully, in the initial years, I've built the muscle of I've not been worn out by the challenges, but I've built the muscle of, okay, if it's a challenge, let's figure out the solution as well. Today, if you ask me, there is no word called challenge in my dictionary. For me, every single situation, I actually use the word situation than challenge now. Every situation is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and it's not going to be easy, right? Like, I have never seen anybody being successful by just doing easy things. People are successful when you have had an ability to deal with different situations, different challenges, success and failure. I don't know anybody who's always successful. So how do you deal with failure? How do you deal? The phrase I turn in my mind is, instead of a challenge, because sometimes negative words can bring you down. I rarely use negative words. So I reframe in my mind, okay, there is a situation and I don't have a toolkit to solve for it. It's not easy because I'm definitely finding it tough. I have butterflies in the stomach. I'm feeling anxiety. I'm feeling overwhelmed, whatever, or I'm feeling a little afraid. How do I deal with this? It can be anything from I have young children to I have a tough boss to there the people are being unfair at my work, or I don't know how to deal with these unrealistic deadlines. So there are so many things that situations can come in your way. So I thought, let me walk through some of the frameworks I use, and then after that, I think we can discuss what's helping me. So, first and foremost thing I do is, it's important to reflect often to rejoice in your life. And if you don't take the time to reflect and do things, we do a lot of things for our mind because that's what our profession is all about. But what are you doing for your heart? What are you doing for your soul as well? So it's very important. So I thought, maybe let me start with my practices. I love being a mother. So I'm a very hands on mother. So I love to do things like helping them get ready, dropping them at the school bus, or being there after they come in the evening, spend time with them, taking them to the classes or parks when they were younger, whatever it is. So that's an important thing for me. And I make sure that important things are always embedded in my day to day routine. I think the second thing is, most people wake up and open a phone, or they open an email as well, and then they start looking at their email to see what was the email. And I have always told myself, I am not in the business of life and death. So if I don't see my email for 1 hour, nobody's dying, because I'm not a surgeon saving the life in that moment. I'm not a neurosurgeon at that point of time. So you need your own discipline about how do you want to start your morning routine. My morning routine is most of the times maybe positive affirmations about what is my intention for the day. It's always like, thank you, Swami, for blessing me with a great day. Today is another day. I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to do great things for everybody. Whatever are your positive affirmations, I try to set as well. And then once kids leave to work, I spend definitely some time in either chanting or meditating or singing. Like, you can pick what you like, but these are the things I always do, because for me, chanting is the way to connect to the divine. Like, even at the start of the session today, I really like Rudram. I really like a lot of chants, especially for Kala Bhairava or Shiva or Rudram, or especially Devi. There are a few chants I like. For example, even the simple one like सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु. Even if you don't believe in just a religious chants or something, you try doing this for 21 days. Just chanting something, you can see the amount of positive and powerful vibration. I personally like this chant because one thing I learned from Swami is pray for the broader good of the universe. He would always say, Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, Samastha Lokah Sukhino Bhavantu. So I think just saying that again and again is like that's a very good start for my day. And I've always, or some days I chant, some days I sing. Like I have many favorite bhajans. Even singing 2 lines, 4 lines of a bhajan really energizes my day. And I love meditation. I've attended so many meditation retreats over the years because I have this innate zeal to seek truth. What is truth? What does it feel like when you reach that enlightened state? And that's a never ending journey, right? So it's you're always seeking. So those are, I don't get to do everything every day, but that's my morning routine. And I say this because don't be in a hurry. There are two words, right? Do you want to react to what the world and the society is telling you, which is what your phone is telling you, your emails are telling you? So do you want to be reactive to the world's emotions and thoughts, or do you want to be creative to your soul or your heart of what you want to do? So first choose your morning routines because that makes a significant difference as well. And then comes multiple other things about how, and maybe that's a good segue to, I want to introduce you to this and then we'll do a small exercise together. There is a wheel of life. These are all the things which are important in our life, which is, I start with spirituality because for me, your connection to yourself, connection to the world, universe, divine, whatever makes you comfortable, that for me is the number one. Your health, your family, whatever are your social friends, what gives you joy, and the love which you find in your life, your career, what do you want success in your career, your finances, and what fun do you want to have in life, how do you want to invest in your personal development, and what do you want to do for your environment to keep it, either whether it's your home or world or things around you, how do you want to keep your environment as well. If you don't keep this wheel of life in mind, you can go into one of these pie and spend all the time in that pie, and the outcome of that is most of the times you're unhappy. You're unhappy because you have you this is the entire wheel of life which makes you happy. Only when you make time about a portion of all of this, every day is difficult, but on a monthly, quarterly, yearly, and you need to know, like, everybody can't do everything, but you need to know what are your most important things in life. And that's where I want to introduce you to this concept of glass balls and rubber balls. Many of you know, right? All of us are juggling multiple balls. So I will tell you what are all the balls I'm juggling, right? Which is, I'm a mother, so I have to take care of my twins. I'm a leader, I have a large organization, I have to run the organization. I'm a daughter and daughter-in-law, so I have responsibilities of parents and in-laws. I'm a wife, so I have to spend time with my spouse. I love singing, so I have to learn music. And I love volunteering and servicing, so I make time for servicing. That so there are many other things, and I have to figure out what is the financial sustainability. So everything you see in that life, these are many things, right? So what would happen if you throw a glass ball in the air and if it falls down, right? A glass ball typically when it falls down, it shatters. And if you throw a rubber ball in the air and drop it, most of the time it bounces back. You can pick it up again. So it's very important to know what are rubber balls and what are glass balls in your life. So let's just take a minute. I want each of you to write down, out of these 10 things, maybe let's just stick with the 5, okay? Write 5 things in this which are important to you, and please write in the order of priority. Put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If health is important, put 1. If spirituality important, put 1. If family is important, put 2. Whatever, but put 5 things in the order of 1 to 5. And then please write which one is a glass ball and which one is a rubber ball. Let's just take 2 minutes and do that. Okay, hope all of you have taken time and have seen this and have written this. So I'll tell you maybe while you're all finishing. So I did this exercise maybe when I was 25 years old, so almost 20, 22 years old. So, in the order of priority, I said seeking the truth, spirituality is my number one. And then I said my family, which is my spouse and children, are number two, and then health, and then career. And then I said perhaps social friends or something like that. I've put in the fifth one. But what I also did was, I just parallel to that, I started writing how much time am I spending? If spirituality is my number one in 24 hours or in a week, in a month of 30 days, how much time I'm spending on spirituality? How much time am I spending on health? And it was inversely proportional. So my number four was work, and my work was like somewhere on the top, or vice versa. Like my health was number two, but somewhere it was in the fifth on the number of times I'm spending it. It's hard to do that, I would say, every day, but in a quarter, like two things I told you so far, right? Make sure you start your morning in a way where nobody can control. You control your mornings. That can make a significant difference. And to always know you are always juggling balls in the life. Know what are your glass balls and rubber balls. Never let your glass balls fall down, because it's even if they if rubber balls they fall down, there is no crack, they will bounce back, you will catch it. And it may be different, we don't have to compare each other's notes, but whatever is meaningful to you, you make sure that you hold your glass balls very carefully and don't let them ever, and keep looking at this wheel of life. From my experience, I want to tell you, you're never successful even if only if you focus on one pie of your life. See, for me, everything else in this wheel of life has, I would say, if I could bring one pie to the center, I would bring spirituality to that circle in the middle. Because for me, spirituality was that omnipresent pie all the time, which actually guided me in all aspects of my life, which guided me in the family, how to live as a family member, which guided me in my career, which guided me in my personal development. There are many other things. So that brings to the next quote I want to tell you about what Swami has always said. Together with worldly education, that's what we go out in the world, right? Or we go to schools, we go to colleges, we go to corporates, we go to organizations, institutes, we get worldly education. But that alone is not enough. You have to cultivate the human values and undertake the spiritual discipline. This quote has truly played a lot. Satwam was very kind to say that Madhuri had a lot of awards, lot of accolades. I'm actually, by the way, surrounded by several people who have much higher intellect than me, IQ. They have much higher IQ. But when it comes to the EQ, emotional quotient, or even spiritual quotient, I personally think my spiritual quotient helped me significantly, and my spiritual discipline helped me significantly, along with the education and values, to truly.
Just leave a message. Okay.
Hello. Sorry. You could hear me, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. Yeah. So it helped me immensely, and I thought I'll introduce you to this. This was a Bal Vikas thing which we teach for the young kids, but it's very, very important. So we talked about two things, right? How do you gain that whatever quotient which is beyond an intellect to balance all aspects or to deal with your challenges? And second is, how do you develop those values? We all know, all of us, if I ask you to write down, you will write down three values or five values and say these are important to me. But how do you live those values in your life? So be like this tree. I've always believed that love is caring and sharing, and right conduct, having the right values, is very, very important in life. Come what may, whether it is work or in my personal life, whether people behave nasty with me, or people were unrealistic, or people were unfair, I did not change my values. My values have been about what Swami always teaches, right? Be truthful. I mean, like, integrity is such an important value for me. Whether somebody is watching you or not, how do you stay truthful to who you are? And how do you give love, right? Love means different in different contexts, but let's take in the professional context, right? Professional context, love means being empathetic, like, truly giving opportunities to people around you to succeed. And how do we ensure that we have a right conduct? I have never changed my behavior because of others' behavior. Whether others are behaving in the right, wrong, whatever is the label of the behavior, my behavior will always be in alignment with my values. Of course, in this world, I don't think there's anybody who's violent, but there is a verbal violence too, by the way. It's not about your physical violence. Even verbally, I believe a lot in being kind and saying truthful things as well. So my first things first is, whatever are your value system, write them down. Your corporate life, your personal life, nothing should be come and shaking it. You see all the leaves and branches, that's what our professional and personal life is growing. But those roots and stem are the values in your life, that no corporation, no spouse, no family, no friends should be able to come and alter it. Those are your values, and you live life with your values, and you have to trust it. When you live life with those values is when the tree grows bigger, and it's bigger on the right foundation. So whatever fruits you bear out of it, those are truly fruitful and truly helpful. If there is one thing I want you to remember today, this is that one line: manage your energy, not your time. All of us have very limited time as well, and maybe here I'll take a few examples as well. Let me start with the left quadrant, because spiritual energy is what I build a lot, because spiritual energy truly helps me always understand two, three things. Now I will use some corporate words so that it's easier for you to relate, right? So whichever role I take, I'm always thinking, what is the vision of this organization? What is the CEO trying to do? What is the organization trying to do? What's my leader trying to do? What are we doing for our customers? So always I think of, what is the larger purpose of why we are existing? You are not there to go deliver that one line of code or one feature or one small product. What is that product doing as well? I think building the spiritual energy, like I told you earlier, right? My morning routines and my values, which I believe in. I always believe that life is as large as a universe, and there is infinite energy out there. And if there is a larger purpose, see, for me, my personal larger purpose is, how do you operate in that sthita prajna zone? How do you operate in that enlightened zone where, like Swami always says, right? Aham brahmasmi. Like, love yourself and love others. There is divinity in you, there is divinity in others. This line is so simple, but to realize, it's not one lifetime, it takes multiple lifetimes. So for me, like, I literally operate every day, think, how do I realize the divine in myself? How do I realize the divine in others? And that's what I'm operating with a spiritual, and I'm doing my practices to build my spiritual energy. The moment I come to work, I'm also thinking, what is it I can be in service as a leader? Specifically, what is it I can do to be in service of people around me? What is that larger purpose we are all trying to solve? How can I collaborate? How can I partner? How can I bring things together? I think that for me has enormous energy. I cannot tell you, and maybe I'm biased, all energies are equally important. But for me, when I operate from my spiritual energy, I think the speed and I mean, you may not believe, but you will have to have a faith for what I'm saying. When you operate in that spiritual energy, right, the entire universe helps you. Many a times, I don't have all the abilities or making perhaps data to make the right decision. But when I'm in that zone, because I've built that spiritual energy, like, then I can see universe also helping me, because my mind is not wandering. I'm directly connected. I just feel universe helps me think through properly as well. Then the next comes is mental energy. There are zillion interruptions which are happening in our life, which is from phone pinging to emails left and right, so to people who want everything urgently, to what are the main other things. So this is where I focus on, how do I develop that mental energy? And I develop the mental energy by, I don't do first come first serve in my entire personal or professional life. I always look at the set of the things to do, and then I think, what is important to do now? What can I do a few days or a week later? What can I delegate to others? And what should I even delete it? You don't need to do everything. See, human beings have energy which you need to do. How do you use those energy finitely? The main way I think to grab and capture your mental energy really well is to think about what are your priorities, and I have another framework to help you understand there. But how do you conserve your mental energy and do it? You can't be spending enormous energy on everything. You need to compartmentalize your life as well. Third is emotional energy. So, one thing I want to tell you is, one thing I've done over the years is I have not given the privilege to anybody to make me unhappy. No one, I want you to listen this again and again. No one has the privilege. I have not given the privilege to anybody to make me unhappy, to make me sad. That privilege lies with me. My happiness is inside of me, specifically in corporates or even in the personal lives. People say something and suddenly your emotions are down. Like you have this amygdala hijack, and then you are reacting. What the hell is he doing? Why is he saying that? What is she doing? How can she say that? She doesn't. I mean, you can go in the spirals of going all and out. Then I think that's when you have to start thinking of these three lenses, right? Reverse lens, long lens, and wide lens, right? Reverse lens is, what would the other person say, and what if they are right? Like, what is their point of view which I am not thinking? The second one is long lens, right? How likely that in 6 months I will have the same agitated emotion about the same things, right? And the wide lens is, what am I learning from all of this as well? And these lenses are very important. Like, even now, if you take 10 seconds, you will look back how you have reacted 6 months ago and said, that was so silly. I don't even know why was I like so emotional about that thing as well. Managing your emotions is perhaps, if you don't manage it, maybe let me say it the other way, if you don't manage your emotions, that's one of the most energy drainer. Like, you can't let anybody impact your emotions. For example, the word I heard in one of the meditation retreats was, don't be a psychological slave to somebody. So if the key to your happiness lies with somebody, imagine. So that means they can anytime turn the key and make you happy. They can anytime turn the key and make you unhappy. They can anytime turn the key and make you angry, frustrated. Why would you give your key to others? And if your key has to be with you, you need to use one of these lenses. They literally step back and think. And if you still have that emotion, then there are other things, right? You can take a deep breath, you can go for a walk, or you can have a candid, honest, truthful conversation with that person without your emotions. Because if you speak in emotions, you may yourself use some unkind words, you may not be respectful, so which is deviating from our value system. So I'm not saying like don't suck up everything, right? Like, not everybody says the right thing, but there is a way to say that. And there is a way that you don't get into that zone for the next 1 hour. There are many people who wouldn't even know that your zone has altered. And for me, by the way, that came because I have learned, I early on started from the spiritual energy, then built mental energy, then built emotional energy. For example, and this doesn't happen overnight, so I sincerely encourage you to practice whatever it is. It is bhajan, chanting, meditation, whatever is closer to your heart. Because I remember, like maybe 20, 30 years ago, if I'm unhappy, and to know which situation or whose words or what things made me unhappy would have taken few hours or few days to even realize. But now I'm always centered. When my center moves away from a bliss zone, I exactly know what situation, what has, first of all, you should be having awareness that you moved away from your that bliss good zone. There is a good zone for all of us. You should be completely be in awareness of that zone. Like, whether I'm a mother, whether I'm a leader, whether I'm a spouse or a daughter, whatever role I'm doing, you need to know your zone, and that zone requires a lot of practice. Then when you move away from that zone, you need some tips and tricks to bring you back to that zone. That's the toolkit we are learning today. First, develop awareness. The only way to develop awareness is to reflect, is to pray, is to meditate, whatever. Once you develop awareness, know that you're moving away from your good zone of awareness, and then you bring back as well. And once you bring back, and how do you bring back? Like a few things we just talked about as well, because that helps you preserve your emotional energy, your mental energy, and your spiritual energy, and lastly, your physical energy, right? Like I said, I have a choice on a Saturday evening to go pray, to go party. I'm not saying don't party, don't go with our friends, do everything, but make sure physical energy is also important. How do you take care of your body? Like, how are you? Like, I'm even today, I think I'm very fond of my sleep. I love my 7, 8 hours of sleep because without sleep, I'm not as functional. Or right food. I really believe in eating nice sattvic food, which helps you build more energy as well. Whether it is food, whether it is sleep, whether it is knowing when to actually know your body has to rest and all of that. I say all of this because you may be wondering, that's a good segue, like, oh, Madhuri, I hear, like, I think even Sattvam said very kindly, like, I'm definitely not a superhuman. I want to tell you, I'm not a superhuman. I'm a very, very, very ordinary woman. I'm a very ordinary woman. But when I was a child, I believed only extraordinary people can do extraordinary things. And I always thought I was ordinary, so I can't do extraordinary things. But then, after learning some of these, specifically with a lot of Swami's grace and blessings and teachings, then I got the realization, okay, I may be ordinary, but I can do extraordinary things. There are very few people who are born extraordinary, but I believe I was born ordinary. Even today, I'm still an ordinary woman. I was an ordinary young girl, I was an ordinary woman now. But I have done extraordinary things. And that extraordinary things did not happen because of any rocket science or because it didn't happen because of any superhuman science. It just happened because of a few things I've consistently done. Like, for example, I manage my energy. And when you are in the right energy zone, right, the same thing can be done in a much more loving way, honest way, pleasant way. Because, like I said, you don't give up your dreams and you develop resilience when tough things happen and you have an appreciation of tough things. So, when I started my career, before I open my laptop, I would just pray that, like, I wish there are no issues in my inbox. I really want to be all easy things. And if there is an issue, what should I tell my boss? That would be my reaction 30 years ago. Now, when I'm opening the laptop, I have that, okay, whatever is in my inbox, I have confidence I will solve it. Whatever comes in my meetings, I have confidence I have solved it as well. And that, now I have a more bring it on attitude, like, okay, bring it on, I can solve it. And it's not because I have no fear anymore. There is always fear, right? So fearlessness is not absence of fear, it is the presence of courage to walk through your fears. So now, how did I develop this courage to walk through the fears? Because of all the challenges I talked about. If your life is not hit with challenges, whatever small or big, then you do not develop the courage to walk through the challenges. And only when you have solved a few, it could be as simple as, how do I deal with this angry boss? To, I'm not getting my next promotion, what do I do about it? To, oh, I need to do this for my kids too, I have this important assignment at my work. Every situation challenge teaches you a few skills, but time is limited for all of us. That's when I have used this. Like I said, you can distribute, like I have inordinately taken help of my spiritual energy, and then of course that gave me a lot of ammunition to also build very good mental energy, emotional energy as well, because I think that together has helped me. And I think that's a good segue to the next thing, right, which is, I love this glass jar example. And now think of your glass balls and rubber balls. So, you know what are your glass balls in life? We have seen the wheel of life, everything which is important. So, you know this story of the crow and the pebbles and the sand and the water, right? So, imagine in this glass jar, what if I first put water? If you put water, in water, if you put sand, water is flowing away. Then you put pebbles, water is again flowing away. Then you put big rocks, there is no place for the big rocks as well. So I always prioritize my life the other way, which is first in the jar of life, put your big rocks. And my big rocks are not just the transformative projects I'm doing at work. In actually, my big rocks are two more things, right? One is I have given birth to twins, two children. And I genuinely think my responsibility as a mother and parent is to nurture them into good humans, good adults who are of use to the society. And that's the job of an every parent. So for me, that's a very big rock. Second big rock is, like I said, I truly want to seek the truth. For me, that's a very important rock. That doesn't mean I'm sitting and meditating or sitting and chanting or singing all the day. But I take those and I live those values in whatever I do, whichever role I'm playing. It's important to play that as well. That's my big rock. So first I fill my jar with big rocks. Then there are always pebbles, right? There are always urgent things at work, at family. Suddenly your son has a fever or your daughter has to be dropped at a class, but I have an important VP visiting and I have to give a presentation to that leader. The same day my daughter is sick. So you have to run around sometimes, call help from your family, call a nanny, call a babysitter. You have all the other things. So there are pebbles. So you will have to put pebbles next. Always know what are those urgent, critical, important tasks. And then you fill your jar with sand. Sand is these small, small things. I have to send this email, or I have to do this quick thing, or I have to, like, drop off this document. Like, there are small things enough going on in our lives. And then you put the water. Like, there is a lot of other things happening in our life as well. So if you're not intentional in your life, then I think you can go on and on about doing multiple things. So we talked about three things so far, right? First, understand the wheel of life. Please live holistic lives. Please live holistic lives. And that wheel of life, see what's important. What are your rubber balls and glass balls? Never let your glass balls fall down. They're very important to you in your life. Take care of them with love as well. And then we talked about, so how do we do it? That's when we talked about there's a wheel of life. And then how do you manage your energy? What practices can you do? How do you build that wisdom to develop so that all of us have 24 hours? But what if you have abundance of energy and you know which energy you can tap in at what time to do that particular project or a task or what's happening in your personal life? And then on a weekly, monthly basis, used this glass jar prioritization. I randomly don't live my life. Like, I'm very intentional. Like, I almost spend many Sundays thinking, okay, so what are my big rocks in my life? And they keep changing. Don't put like one static thing and then after 3 months you're overwhelmed because the jar is overflowing, right? Jar will always overflow because you have not reflected, you have not built your energy, you're not moving around your jar as well. And that comes perhaps to the last thing is, this is one of my favorite quotes from Nelson Mandela. You can be you. You don't have to change. Like, over the years, so many things must have nudged me or triggered me to move away from myself, but I stay true to myself. So be you, and you can be unstoppable, right? So your choices should reflect your hopes, not your fears. And the only way to do that, like I said, there are many, many ways to do it. In my life, for me, my spiritual journey played a significant role. Living my values played, I would say, an immense role. And Swami always said, work is worship. So if I'm working in Google, I truly treat that like a worship. If I'm coming home and working as a mother, I truly treat that to be like a devoted. It's easy to be devoted to your children because they're yours. But that comes to the last one, which is like one of my favorite sayings of Swami, I would listen multiple times, is realize the divine in you and realize the divine in others. And that can take like lifetime. So every time I think of, is my behavior right? Is my values right? Is my conduct right? Am I being honest? Like, I cannot tell you the importance of values in my life because it's very easy to get moved around in multiple directions. And that's when you hear, oh, Madhuri can sing, Madhuri is a mother, Madhuri is a leader, Madhuri is volunteering. None of this is rocket science. You will all do 100 things more than me if you know how to build the right energies in your life. and how to look at your wheel of life in a more holistic way, and how to be intentional in prioritizing your way. So maybe I'll just stop there and then I'll see if there are any comments or questions.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for this wonderful talk. Loving Sairam to all. And with your permission, now we'll be moving forward to the Q&A session. So brothers and sisters, we often rely on Google when we are in doubts or we have queries, right? But we have with us, by Swami's grace, the VP of Google. So any doubts or questions that we have, please raise your hands or comment in the chat box so that we can ask all these questions. भाई और बहनों, हम इस सत्र के सभी प्रश्न लेने के लिए तैयार हैं। आप अपने प्रश्न हिंदी या इंग्लिश भाषा में लिख सकते हैं या पूछ सकते हैं। सायराम। Okay, so first of all, we'll be taking brother, let's see the name, from Kerala, Sai Krishna from Kerala. Yes, brother, please go ahead.
Sairam ma'am, am I audible?
Yes.
Ma'am, thank you. There are a lot of takeaways. Hopefully, I'll practice to imbibe some of them. My question was, in case of personal failure, there is a sense of calm that this can be overcome with because it has happened over many years. But in case of challenge situations at workplace, the failure seems bigger because the decision impacts the team or the delivery or project. So how is it dealt with? Is it the same as a personal failure or?
Yeah, no, very good question, Sai Krishna. So there are multiple types of failures at work, right? For example, I've had once an army leader say this to me, and I really like it. So see, first of all, there is a word, right? Like fail fast, iterate fast. So if it's like a small pilot, small experiment, then I think you have a larger scope of failure. You are like, you know what, I'll do this pilot, and maybe I'm doing it with maybe 100 customers, and I'm going to see how it is. But if it fails, then I'll figure out. So if pilots and experiments, I would say the risk of failure is not that high. You can actually take it. But if it is a mega transformational project and there are multiple teams involved in it and the dependencies are higher, you should always have a plan B and a plan C. And that's what army people have, right? So he was saying that we never go to war with a plan A. We always go to a war with a plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D as well. So, what is your plan B and plan C? For example, you have built a new feature and you're delivered, but in the production it fails. So you need to have your redundancy ready. You need to know how to roll back as well. So making sure you have the right instrumentation, that when are your customers having those issues, so you can come back and roll back to the so you need to create your mitigation plans. You need to have your systems ready. You need to have your instrumentation ready as well. That is from a project perspective. But there are some genuine mistakes, like somebody has written a wrong line of code, or somebody forgot to test a test case, or something happened as well. A lot of the times over the years, what I have learned is you can't run an organization with a people base, because humans make mistakes. So you need to have processes and systems which you develop with an innate understanding that there will be some mistakes here and there, unconsciously or unintentionally made by the humans as well. And that's where I said doing that failover ready, doing that redundancy plans ready, doing that risk plans ready allows your people also to not be fearful. Oh, what if it happens? Yeah, if by chance it happens, we have ways to run it, we have systems to run it as well. And I myself have had one or two, like unintentionally I did like something in the line of code, but it had a very big production issue as well. Typically that's the sign of good culture in an organization, right? Which is mistakes do happen, let's be ready from it. But I'm also a fan of, if the same mistake is happening multiple times, that means you're not diligent. Like you have not taken the responsibility seriously, and it's impossible. So, know the intensity of the risk and know the impact of the risk, and accordingly make your risk mitigation plans and know when to fail as well. And for example, when you're taking a larger risk, involve more stakeholders, Tell them, set expectations, take inputs. Hey, I'm planning to. A lot of people think, ideate, and then they do it. But have you spoken to your stakeholders? Have you spoken to your partners and said, what do you think of it? Mostly, if you take diverse perspectives, your risk analysis and mitigation plans are most of the times ready by themselves.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for
It's
this.
okay to fail. It's okay to fail once or twice, because that truly helps you as well. Being perfect, nobody has built any good products.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for this answers of your. Next, we'll be taking Brother Hitesh from Telangana State. Brother Hitesh from Telangana, can you unmute yourself? Okay, so meanwhile, we can take Sister Yasha from Karnataka South. Sister, can you please unmute?
Maybe they're not able to unmute.
Okay, let me check, ma'am. Our IT team is checking on this. Let me check if there are any questions in the chat box right now.
I think you would have
yeah,
to
ma'am.
unmute them. Whoever you are asking them, you have to unmute them.
Okay, ma'am. So there is one question in the chat box. The question is in Hindi, ma'am. कार्यस्थल में असफलता मिलने पर उसे कैसे उभरे या उसे संभाले? Oh, sorry. This is your answer here. I'm just missing out here. IT team, can you please help here?
Yeah, I have unmuted. They can unmute themselves. You can call out name.
Okay.
They can unmute.
Now maybe we can see. Hitesh, can you unmute? No, you
Hitesh.
can't unmute. Okay.
I'm asking you to unmute, Brother Hitesh. Yeah, you are now, please. Yes, brother. Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
So I want to ask question regarding the example you gave. Like you were mentioning, not getting promoted when you think you deserve promotion is one of the example of workplace challenges. And you also mentioned work is worship. So I have conflict in these two things. Like just do your work because you're there for working, but you're not there for advertising how much you're doing. Your work should speak for yourself. That's one part of me which tells so. And the second part of me is everyone around me in a competitive organization focuses more on advertising, marketing their work than working itself. So I have this conflicts. Did you also face this conflict, and what did you do? You thought Swami take care of everything, and like you mentioning universe will help you. Did you get help like that? Like what?
Yeah, Sairam, Hitesh, very, very good question. There is a saying in Telugu. First, I'll say in Telugu and then I'll translate in English. Right? There is a saying in Telugu, గాల్లో దీపం పెట్టి భగవంతుడా కాపాడు అంటే ఆ దీపం ఉండదు. ఆ దీపం ఆరిపోతుంది. So, believing in the divine doesn't mean that you light a diya and leave it in an open space and that air will turn off the diya, right? So you have to do your job. You have to do your job of protecting that lamp, protecting that light as well. So that's the segue to what I was saying, right? Work is worship means that doing it sincerely. And just because I'm surrendering, thinking that, but I need to do my job. And Hitesh, that it's a good point you're making. See, over the years, when I was working, when I started my job in India, I always believed that, okay, I'll do my job. Everybody will know what I'm doing. I don't need to talk about my work. But then I had an opportunity at a very young age to go live in US, to go live in Europe. I've observed how the world works, and there's nothing bad. What I've learned is there are ways when an organization, let's say, has 500 people, like take my own organization, I have 750 people in my org. There is no way I will know what is every person in my organization doing. Sometimes the only way to know is when they set up time with me, 15 minutes, they come and talk to me in a one-on-one and say, they'll send me a document and say, Madhuri, here are the 5 things I worked on, and here is an area I need your advice. So I am not a favor of talking about things you didn't do, right? There are many people, to your point, who are saying, who are just advertising and not doing to the work, right? First, I believe in you need to do your work right as well. and then talk about it. But there are two ways to talk about it, Hitesh, which not many people do. Most people, by the way, think I'll do my job, my manager should know, my peers should know, my partner should know. Nobody has that much time these days to know everything what you're doing. So there are two ways to do that, and both are important. Let's assume you're building a feature, or you're building some 20 test cases, or you're pushing something, whatever it would be, like, or you're building a strategy. I think many of us, especially when I was younger, I will do the work and then I will go. Let's say, Hitesh, you're my manager. After I finish the work, I'll come and tell you, Hitesh, sir, I have done these three things. And then, but first of all, by then, it's too late. So the ideal thing to do is, if Madhuri is reporting to Hitesh, if I'm about to start, I'll go say, Hitesh, sir, next 3 months and 6 months, here are the 5 things I'm going to work on, sir. This is the impact. If I do this, we will grow our customers by 10%. We will do this. I hope you're aligned with the expectations. So then your manager knows, okay, this is what this person is working on. And then after I do, I usually write an email, or I create a document, or I create a slides and say, and don't think this is beating your drum, because there's so much work happening in the organization. It's important sometimes, whether it's in your one-on-ones, or in your team meetings, or in your all hands meetings, or town halls meetings, there are important forums where people need to know how the work you're doing is creating an impact. There are smaller teams which are perhaps much easier. Ideally, the manager should know what the employee is doing, but at any point of time, many things are happening. So why can't we also make it easy for our managers? It's okay. I mean, talking about our work is not wrong. See, talk, and we are taught from very early on, right? In our families, don't brag, don't talk about what you do, just be humble. Being humble doesn't mean we don't talk. If you talk about your work in an extraordinary superlative adjectives, then yeah, of course, like, you can't say that, oh, I've done perhaps the best thing in this entire company. That, like, you can say, I've done a great job, here are the 3 things I'm very proud of. That's actually reflects your pride in what you do as well. And I'm not saying promotions are dependent or not. Many good companies, they happen by but it's good to talk about your work, I think. And I always tell people, not everybody is an extrovert. So you don't have to talk about your work in a meeting, because some people don't like to talk. Then you write a document, then you write an email, or create a one slide and just say, here's the impact of the work I've done. And then talk about the next things too. I think here are 3 more things we can do in partnership with this or that. That shows that you're eager and you're excited to make a difference in the organization.
Good. That's very valuable. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, I would like to unmute Sister Tiasha from Karnataka South. Sister, can you please unmute? Yeah.
Hi, ma'am. Thank you for such a wonderful session, first of all. And it was really inspiring to know your side of story. And it had so many similarities with us, like at this stage. My question is, like, you beautifully told us about the juggling balls, like some are glass balls and rubber balls. We need to prioritize. But for me, like personally, it is becoming difficult to prioritize 3 to 4 aspects in my life. And I'm not able to figure out which could be the juggling glass ball or rubber ball, because everything seems to be glass balls for now. So I'm not able to handle all those 4 balls together. And it is creating problem because I am too much getting occupied with one of it at a given moment. And then suddenly next day, the others are getting disappeared. So I'm really not sure how to handle. Can you give me some tips?
Good question, Tasha, right?
Tiasha.
Tiasha, yeah, good question.
काफी टाइम आगे तो चेस्टल आगे सारे
Can you mute them?
Yes.
Yeah, इतना फील नहीं होता देख लो पहले छोटे बच्चे हो जाता है
हाँ
Okay, good. I think the glass balls are different for different people, but let me tell you what are my glass balls. I have 3 glass balls, right? First is health. If health deteriorates and falls down, it's very, very difficult to constantly patch it up again and again. your family is a glass ball. Like my children, my spouse, my parents, my in-laws, they mean the world, right? So that's definitely a glass ball. Like if they need you, prioritize them, right? They would as well. And when I say they need, not everything. Suddenly my kids are, I'm at work, they call and say, can I eat Oreo or not? That is not at all an important thing to answer them at all. But if they have a high fever and if they're going through any emotional challenges, whatever it is, you need to put everything aside and take care of them. And third, I don't know what's the right way to describe this glass ball is, am I in the right path in my spirituality? Sometimes you can get sidetracked and do the things which completely deviates you from, not for me, that's an important glass ball. Like, if I'm doing things which is taking me away from all my practices and doing some things, so everything else will bounce back. Your job, your career, you didn't do one thing, that project, everything will bounce back, things will come. Now coming to, you said, Tiasha, a lot of things are happening at your things as well. I don't know what is your life stage currently, but maybe I'll give an example. Until my twins were 5 years old, I was very overwhelmed. I didn't learn music at that point of time. I didn't do a lot of volunteering at that point of time. I have reduced everything. So you don't have to do everything at all the time. For example, when you said you're juggling with four things at a time, maybe it's important to prioritize those four also and say, okay, in this four, what are the most, so at all times in our life, we don't have to do everything. Sometimes social media completely, I would say, derails you. Not everybody, what they're putting up on social media is not what everybody is living life every single day. If it is overwhelming you, at that point of time, it's okay. Take life like more a marathon, not a sprint, right? It's not a 100-meter sprint, especially women, right? Like when you're young, you're thinking about getting a job, then you have to find the right partner in your life. Then, if you decide to be a mother, then you have children, and then you have to adjust to lots of the societal norms as well. And then you're doing a job. There are multiple things a woman goes through in their life as well. So, think of your life like a marathon. A marathon is a 42 kilometers run. And don't try to sprint 100 meters every time, because then you get exhausted very soon. And when life gets overwhelmed, it's okay to slow down. Like there are three words I always say, right? You can pause any things, or you can phase. Like I can, you will say, okay, I'm going to do this in the next phase of my life, or you can pace it. Like earlier, you were perhaps doing things very fast, but you can pace now. So between pause, phasing, and pacing, you have an option. You are, that choice lies with you. So don't be in a hurry to do everything, especially young girls. I was like that. We want everything. We want to accomplish everything. We want to be perfect. Let me tell you, perfect is the enemy of living a happy life. Embrace a little bit of your imperfections, and it's okay. So prioritize those things you talked about, phase a few things, if needed, pause one or two things here and there as well. Like even now, by the way, my kids are in 10th grade, so I've suddenly paused a lot of things. I don't have as many social engagements like I used to have before, because there's no time. Or if I have any time, I want to prioritize their well-being, because in 10th grade sometimes they have a lot of pressure, unnecessary things. So I just want to be around them to calm the energy. I don't have to go to a function, or I don't have to go to another social gathering. So you can pace, pause, and phase a few things as well. And take help. One advice I want to give all the women is, don't try to solve everything by yourself. There are enough and more people in our lives to help us. So reach out, take help, learn from other women's lives. Like I realized everything in late 30s. I hope you all realize in mid 20s and live a more balanced life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Taking the last question of the day. This is in the chat box, ma'am. I'm reading it for you. So, Sairam, you have mentioned never change your behavior because of others' behavior. At times, this tests our patience and put in difficult situation. How to overcome that situation?
I don't know what is the, it'll be good to have the example of that difficult. If that person is online, can you speak
Yeah,
up?
I'm stating his brother Ramakrishnan from Tamil Nadu South. Brother, can you please?
Sairam, so sometimes the other behavior, like because of others' behavior, like you are getting like impacted, and you like you mentioned, like you should not change your behavior, and you have to live your values by your values. So, like I don't have the real example, but it is like running through my mind. So I just
Yeah, got it. Okay. If it's a generic one, I'll give you some. So Sairam Ramakrishna, great question. I'll give a few examples, right? Sometimes people are angry at an outcome of a project, and then they'll come in a blasting way in an email or in a meeting and say something. Or personally, they have in our personal relationships also, they've assumed something and they have misunderstood you, they're sad, and they've already made some assumptions about some things we have done as well. Or there are people who sometimes come and constantly complain about others, and they are trying to extract from you if you have any complaints on them. I'm just giving 2 3 examples. So in all of these situations, if the other person is angry and is constantly frustrated, and let's assume whatever that person is frustrated about is not even worthwhile being frustrated about, you have an answer to that as well. What I mean by you don't like, if I don't like being frustrated at others and talking to others in a disrespectful way, so I will still maintain my respect and my calmness and say, hey, Mr. X, I see you're frustrated. Is it a good time to talk, or should we talk after a few minutes? There are some facts I want to tell you. Are you in the right frame of mind? So what I'm saying is, you can be composed. You don't have to lose your anger, or you can always say, I don't think this is the right time to talk, because we may end up in an unnecessary argument. How about we take it offline and talk after a few hours? Or I'm happy to send my thoughts in an email. So you can stay true to how you want to react in that situation. The second thing, which is, some people come and complain, they want to talk about others, or they want to talk about things which perhaps are not the truths as well, and they're extracting you. Like, I personally, it's my value system to not talk about a person who's not in the room. And at that time, I almost stay quiet, or sometimes say, I don't think it's a good idea to talk about this topic right now. How about we call that person and talk about it? Or and sometimes I don't give in to that behavior. That's what I meant by, you, for me, for example, it's, each of our value systems are different. For me, 3 4 values are important, which is always expressing gratitude. Even if somebody gives me a tough feedback, I'll say thank you for the feedback, let me think about it. Let me think about it doesn't mean that I'm accepting all their feedback. I'm just saying thank you for taking time and giving me that hard feedback. Whether it is relevant for me or not, it is up to me to think about it as well. Or similarly, if somebody has written a very angry email to me, I take my time and respond, because if I respond immediately, I will also be highly emotional. So I'll first time, sometimes if I feel like still angry, then I write down, but I don't send that email. Then after 1 hour, I'll read it again. Okay, is it worthwhile sending it? Because I want to be kind and I want to be respectful. And by the way, don't mistake being respectful and kind means not having a truthful conversation. If the other person's point of view you disagree, you can respectfully say that. Hey, I disagree with the point of view, or I politely disagree with your point of view. Can we have a discussion about it? I would like to debate about it as well. So there are ways to actually say that without giving up on your value system.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for your patiently answering all the questions, ma'am. Now, we would like to invite Professor Yogendra Verma, convener of Sri Satya Sai National Leadership Program for Self-Transformation, and the State President of Himachal Pradesh, to share his message with us.
Om Sri Sairam, my pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. It was really a treat to listen to Madhuri. Actually, the lessons she has learned over the years, number of things, number of insights, I think all of you, young men and women, can learn a lot.
So many things she has talked, not theoretical, but facing the life and how to be not only successful, but effective. What a beautiful combination of life and work. I'm making it really a pleasure. Bhagwan, in fact, in her own way, she has talked about the energy. And the most important thing which I liked in her presentation, and that is the lesson which we have to carry away with us, and that is that first of all, we have to build up our own capacities, our own competence. She talked about energies. Bhagavan also talks about that. In his own way, he says, now if he says you are divine, okay? So this divinity is to be manifested. But how this divinity is to be manifested? Not by rituals, not by worships, not by pujas, or no. He's talking in very simple terms. He says that no, physical energy, very important, and she rightly said. मैं कई बार कहता हूँ कि ये कहते हैं character is lost, everything is lost. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि body is lost, health is lost, everything is lost. Character की बात तो बाद में आएगी. So the first thing Swami says that she talked about the physical energy, emotional energy, mental energy, physical. And Bhagwan said that no, one word he used, the pure food. And this food signifies so many things. It's not only the meals we take, but we are taking food through our senses. We are building our body accordingly. So that is the one. If we get pure food, you had a number of lectures on that, what is food and all those things. Second is the mind. So here Swami says, purify your desires. Now he doesn't say that finish your desires. No, purify your desires. Now you have a desire, you have an ambition to be successful. What for? For your own self, or she used the word vision of the organization. When you are working in the organization, this is the vision of the organization. So you can't have your own vision. That is your personal vision. That means you're out. So vision of the organization. You are working in the society, vision of the organization. So that means your desire, your ambition is built around that. So purify your desires. And third level, conscience, अंतःकरण. और उसके बारे में भगवान ने क्या कहा? Purify your thoughts. Positive. She said, you are talking about that you have a positivity. One thing I really love it. All the time we are talking problems, ये problem, वो problem. I think ये problem वाला शब्द जो है ना, इतना problematic है. हर दिन में कभी आप रिकॉर्ड करना अपना problem जब अरे ये problem. वो बच्चा छोटा सा बच्चा स्कूल जाता है, he is also saying I have this problem, I don't have a time, I don't have this, mama I am facing this problem. But then people modified it, said okay, these are the challenges. But today I am very happy. She said no, not challenges. These are the opportunities, to test your competence. तो स्वामी ने कहा कि आपकी अगर if you अंतःकरण लेवल पे अगर आपके thoughts pure हैं, then your divinity, pure food, purified desires, pure thoughts, then your divinity will be manifested. Divinity manifested means, and she again talked about one word, that this universal energy will come to you. Then you become divine. You become divine in the sense that people you have a control over not only yourself. एक और बात इन्होंने बहुत अच्छी कही, अपने hopes के ऊपर, अपनी खुशियों के ऊपर हमारा अपना कंट्रोल होना चाहिए, अपनी लाइफ के ऊपर अपना कंट्रोल होना चाहिए। हम कार चलाते हैं तो ब्रेक मेरे कंट्रोल में होनी चाहिए, एक्सेलरेटर मेरे कंट्रोल में होना चाहिए। I should not give my happiness or my sorrows to others' control. वो तभी होगा अगर आप if हमारी कैपेसिटी, कॉम्पिटेंस हम अपने आप को बिल्डअप करें। इसलिए स्पिरिचुअलिटी यानी कितनी सिंपल सी बात स्वामी कह रहे हैं कि उसमें लेट्स एंटरटेन गुड थॉट्स। एक ब्रेक लगा सकते हैं ना, एक बैड थॉट आ गया, नेगेटिव थॉट आ गया, ब्रेक लगाइए। जैसे हमने कहा पॉज कर लीजिए, थोड़ी देर पॉज कर लीजिए। एक हम रिएक्ट करते हैं, रिएक्शन करते हैं, डोंट रिएक्ट। किसी के बारे में ना बहुत सी चीजें जो माधुरी से मिली हैं। आई थिंक यू शुड कंटेम्पलेट, थिंक ओवर दिस कि अगर किसी के प्रति मेरे मन में एंग्विश आता है, गुस्सा आता है, रिएक्शन आता है, शुड आई रिएक्ट? मतलब बेटर इज ओके, रिएक्शन होगा बिकॉज आई एम ए ह्यूमन बीइंग। मेरा माइंड, कल मेरा मूड कैसा था, आज मेरा मूड कैसा है, मॉर्निंग में कैसा है, दिस गोज ऑन फ्लक्चुएटिंग बिकॉज ऑफ माई ओन कॉम्पिटेंस, माई ओन कैपेसिटी। तो मुझे उसको रिएक्ट करना चाहिए। अगर मैं रिएक्ट करूंगा देन नंबर ऑफ थिंग्स विल कम बैक। अगर मैं रिएक्ट करने की बजाय अपना जो रोष है, अपना माइंड का है, मैंने लिख लिया, ईमेल भी लिख लिया, भेजा नहीं ओके, सो इफ आई डू दैट, थोड़ी देर के बाद जब मेरा माइंड स्टेबल होगा, देन आई थिंक आई विल गेट द राइट टाइप ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन। इसलिए रिएक्शन के बजाय लेट्स हैव ए प्रोएक्शन कि उसको अब्सॉर्ब करो। लाइक आई गिव द एग्जांपल ऑफ ब्लॉटिंग पेपर। ब्लॉटिंग पेपर होता है ना, इंक को ले लेता है, लेकिन एक गर्म तवा होता है, हॉट प्लेट, उसके ऊपर थोड़ा सा पानी फेंकिए, एकदम ची करता है। Let's be blotting paper. Many things we have to, tolerance है, स्वामी सहनशीलता की बात करते हैं। Wonderful session, Madhuri. Nice. And now you have learned so many things over a number of years and sharing with our young minds. Definitely, you are doing a great service of Swami. I'll say that God bless you. Be happy. And same, our team, organizing team is working like anything. I think
Sairam, Uncle, Sairam for all your blessings and wishes.
All the best. Thank you, all the organizing team and all the participants. All the best. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to end with this one line of Swami's bhajan, because without ending in his glory will not. And I wish you the two lines which I always, one is the English bhajan and one is the Hindi bhajan. The first one is, why fear when I am here? So says Baba, Satya Sai Baba, Satya Sai Baba, my Lord. So I do trust. For me, I'm not afraid. I'm not fearful because Baba is there. And then, like I said, that doesn't mean that I just throw everything to him and he's going to take care. The second line is which is in my control, which is, जो नाम चाहो वो नाम बोलो, जो नाम चाहो वो नाम बोलो, प्रेम से बोलो, भाव से बोलो. So it's not only saying the name. प्रेम से बोलना, भाव से बोलना is for the singing Swami. But जो काम करते हो वो भी प्रेम से करो और भाव से करो. अगर हम जो भी बोलते हैं प्रेम से करेंगे और भाव से करेंगे, और जो भी करते हैं वो प्रेम से और भाव से करेंगे, तो like uncle also said, we will I think having that purified thoughts, I cannot tell you how blissful it is. So all my brothers and sisters, I really wish you very purposeful and meaningful lives and careers.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, sir. Now, we would love to invite Dr. Gopi Pidithala, sir, for his words and addresses.
Sairam, everybody. Thank you, Professor Verma. Sir, I don't know, Madhuri, if you know that Professor Verma is the former Vice Chancellor of the Central University of Himachal Pradesh, a very accomplished personality, and it's always a treat to listen to him. So, on the flip side, yeah, Madhuri, always it's a treat to listen to you. I've heard a little bit of it, but at the last Q&A, I've been there, and I know your style of answering these questions pretty well, so I know what comes out from you. Having said that, I've been seeing on the chat box as well as on my Sattvam team that you were firing out today. You know, in fact, Swati, Shraddha, they were saying Madhuri ma'am is in a different mode today. So, kya chakkar hai, kya kha ke aayi hai? Huh? Huh? Good, Madhuri. Thank you so much for coming
I
on
didn't
board.
eat anything. I just prayed to Swami and that please speak through me. That's it.
Good. Very nice, Madhuri. God bless you and continue to inspire people. You know, it's always a treat to have somebody in our family like that, like you. And God bless you. And let's meet soon. Keep yourself available during January 3rd week, around 24th, 25th, 26th. Maybe we'll pull you to Puttaparthi.
Sairam Annaya.
Bye, Nana. Thank you. God bless you.
Sairam, thank you very much for your kind words. Thank you, ma'am. Once again, brothers and sisters, due to paucity of time, we couldn't take much more questions. But yes, please write down your questions to us and we'll pose them to ma'am. And when ma'am responds us, we'll get back it to you. So please post your questions in our WhatsApp groups. Saying that, on behalf of the entire participants and the entire team of the Sri Sathya Sai National Leadership Program for Self-Transformation, I would like to pay our heartfelt gratitude for sharing your journey, ma'am, with us, and to have a speaker of your stature with us tonight. As we rephrase the word challenges to the situation, we learn today that situations are not the obstacles, but they are opportunities in our lives that helps us to grow, to broaden our horizon, and to build our confidence that we have within ourselves. Ma'am, you are a shining example of this, no doubts about this. We also learn that ordinary people do extraordinary things if we have developed the resilience for it.
She is no ordinary girl here, I know her.
So for people like us, ordinary people can do extraordinary things. For us, yes, sir. So I must say, ma'am, the experiences that you have shared with us today are going to remain with us for long times. And when the testing times do come, we'll fall back on these words in these lessons that we had learned today. And yes, the power to think, speak, and act in line with the values that we hold dear to us. Having just celebrated the auspicious occasion of the Ganesh Chaturthi, let us all collectively pray Lord Ganesha to help us see the opportunities in the situation we face in our lives and gives us the strength to overcome them all with smiling faces. Thank you, Swami, for this blessed evening. Again, extend my heartfelt gratitude to you, ma'am, and to all the participants. Lastly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the conveners of the program, Dr. Gopi Krishna Peditala and Professor Yogendra Verma, who gives us this glorious and golden opportunity to have a satsang with the leaders of the contemporary world. I would also like to sincerely appreciate the active participation of all the participants who made this session a truly lively session. A big thank to the Sattvam team that is tirelessly working behind the scenes. Special thank to our IT team and the Hindi translation team for your seamless work ethic that because of you, the session could be made possible. Saying all this, offering and surrendering all our words and thoughts at the lotus feet of our beloved Master, of our beloved Mother Sai. We just pray and we request now our IT team play the Shanti Mantra. Gratitude to Sai for this. Jai Sairam.
Before we end, the next satsang will be by a military officer. we are bringing on board a brigadier of the Indian Army to speak about leadership. So await for the next satsang, please. Jai Sairam.
समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु
जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।